notable weed in communities is believed to be fueling up acts of criminality among young people who become unruly after puffing a few shots of cannabis.
While the cultivation, sale and possession of marijuana is illegal and punishable by law, a section of the population in Tororo has continued to grow this dangerous weed. In several households, the weed is grown within the compound purposely for consumption. With the villages to the sub-counties of Rubongi and Nyangole said to be the most affected, local leaders have teamed up with the police to move to different homesteads to fight the illegal planting of the weed.
Most of opiums which they are planting in this community, they are not selling from far. Majority are our youth from this community who are going there to buy, and they want to what? To smoke it. And that's why you see, when you see around this community, most youth have become very notorious.
In several homes visited, marijuana plants were found at people's backyards and inside gardens amidst other crops, prompting the local leaders to have them cut down and taken away by security.
You know, opiums, they don't even plant in large quantities, but it's in small quantities. But even small can be dangerous in the community.
According to the local leaders, the operation follows rampant cases of crime in the area where women and girls were gang raped, people were assaulted by unknown youth, in addition to theft of household properties in the two sub-counties.
The youth have become, I don't know how I can explain it. First of all, when you move along at night, you just smell them smoking, some are just running, making unnecessary noise.
You find them raping their own sisters, you find them cutting their own uncles, you find them doing wrong things. That's why as a leader and as me as a chairman of Nyangole, I said no.
Besides pushing the young people into criminal acts, taking of marijuana is also believed to be contributing to a number of mental illness cases in the area.
You used to see young boys who are moving in the community here looking like mad people. I want to tell you, my brother, that when you go to the background and you see what the cause of this madness, 80% are those who are taking opiums. If you study it very well, maybe when the boy was still in primary or O level, he took the what? Opiums. And he can even be a bright boy.
According to a report released by the New Frontier Data in 2019, Uganda harbors over 2.6 million users of marijuana, making it among the top 10 countries in Africa where the notable weed is consumed. Mildred Tuhaise, David Ocheng, NBS, Live at 9.
First-time visitors may often be wowed at the site of Mbale's tourism potential, which includes the world's largest caldera and known hills and caves. Despite this unbeatable record, Mbale largely remains an unpopular destination. In this episode of Around and Beyond, we look at why Mbale has failed to exploit this tourism potential.
In the far east of the Pearl of Africa is Mbale, a land immersed in Mother Nature's generosity, with hills so enchanting, caves so mythical, water streams so magical, and a culture so rich, leaving tourists ecstatic. But despite her tourism potential, Mbale, now a city, remains largely unexplored, falling short of a marketing strategy that has come at a cost.
For instance, if you looked at only this range, Wanare range, you will find many falls which can be turned into tourism attractions.
You know, circumcision in Uganda, in Mbale, is one thing which puts us up. So sometimes during odd years, we are in slumber.
The local district leaders decried the poor state of access roads like Bududa to Wagagai, which are impassable. The district also attributes the poor tourism performance to the few tourism officials who should foresee the technical running of the sector.
In areas like from Bududa to Wagagai, we don't have roads to reach that, the peak of the Elgon region. Then we don't have, as the shortest from via Bududa, but it's not there, we don't have a road there connected to that region.
Enzu Yabamasaba, the cultural institution of this region, says they have drafted a concept paper to erect a cultural museum which shall put cultural aspects to ink to enrich their unbeatable culture. However, these fall short on funds.
We are looking for funds so that we can build a museum, a 5-storied museum, and we want to build a cultural field. The land is there. I'm appealing to all of Masaba to come up and we put hands together.
The industry operates in the midst of outdated strategy and policy instruments like the Museum and Monuments Act and the Carnivorous Strategy, amongst others. Mbale Industrial City legislator Karim Masaba says they are still pushing for harmonization on some bills for the sector players to benefit.
Just the biggest challenge I believe that we found was designating some sites which people believed we couldn't have designated, and the clause of them requiring to be authorized and supervised by government. So it's a bit challenging, but at least we try to find middle ground, because I brought an alternative policy statement.
But specifically explore the Elgon region.
On their quest to uncover what more Mbale has to offer through the Explore Elgon domestic tourism campaign, Tourism Minister Martin Mogara says government has already picked interest in a number of these issues, including infrastructural development, and is already in its planning stage.
There are a lot of tax exemptions when it comes to construction of hospitality centers or hotels. Most of the appliances you'll use here are tax-free, and that's what government is supposed to do, to create the infrastructure that makes it easy for everyone to access every part of this country.
Elgon Park numbers had risen to over 4,000 before COVID, but dropped to 1,000 in the recovery phase. All hope now lies in the domestic tourism strategy to market her hidden gems to over 10,000 visitors.
Our plan really with the activities that we're doing now, we want this number to go above 10,000. The park has the capacity, and if we do some of these promotion and awareness programs, we're sure the number will come.
Olivia Nakalembe, NBS, Live at 9.
Now, the contractors handling Kampala Flyover construction project have revealed that the construction of the pedestrians bridges is nearing completion at 95%, while the overall total construction project is at 75%. The same contractors have announced a temporary closure at Insambia's Hospital Road and a change in traffic flow starting 17th of January 2023 to permit construction work on the right-hand side of the project facing Entebbe roadside.
The construction of the Kampala Flyover project that kicked off in 2019 has registered enormous progress, now standing at 75% of the entire construction project. The contractors have revealed that the construction of the pedestrian path is nearing completion, now standing at 95%.
In total, I'm looking at the Chibuli pedestrian bridge, the Clock Tower pedestrian bridge, and the ShopRite pedestrian bridge. Those are three in total. When you combine, they're at about 95%.
To permit construction of the project, on the right-hand side, as facing Entebbe, there is a planned temporary change in traffic flow around Queensway starting next week.
Traffic flow will be on the right-hand side from Ganesh Plaza to the Queensway Junction. Then from the Clock Tower Junction to Queensway, they will take the right-hand side towards the Katwe direction.
From Zambia's side, there will be temporary closure at the Hospital Road near the sharing hall to permit roundabout construction at the area.
Asphalt laying, then laying of service ducts for traffic lights. We are going to construct ducts for traffic lights preparations at Hospital Road. So that is why we need to close for 10 days. But meanwhile, as we close, there will be alternative access routes.
This is the first lot of the two-phase construction of the Kampala Flyover project, extending for 3.8 kilometers, and is intended to, among others, check heavy traffics along Queensway that slowed down working hours spent in traffic. Victor Tayebwa, Julius Chitone, NBS, Live at 9.
In the foreign wrap, it's a good start to the year for public servants in Ghana as government agrees to raise their salaries up by 30% to help them weather financial hardships related to inflation. Meanwhile, in Japan, ex-Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's suspected assassin has been formally indicted. And from the United States, tragic news of the death of Lisa Marie Presley, the only child of rock and roll legend Elvis Presley. She was 54 years old when she died.
Ghana's government and trade unions have agreed to increase all public servant salaries by 30% for 2023 as the country struggles to reduce debt and tackle rampant inflation. The West African gold, oil and cocoa producer is battling its worst economic crisis in a generation, with inflation rising to a new high of 54% last month. Attempts to rein in runaway inflation, such as government spending cuts and interest hikes by the central bank, have so far been unsuccessful. Trade unions representing public service employees started negotiating salary rises with the government in November last year, following a wave of protests by hard-pressed nationals. The two parties on Thursday settled on a 30% increase to base pay across board, effective from January 1st, 2023. And in Japan, prosecutors have formally charged the 42-year-old suspect in the killing of former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, a Japanese court has said. The charges follow a 6-month psychiatric evaluation that saw the suspect declared fit for trial. The man, who was arrested immediately after the shooting on July 8th last year, was indicted by the Nara District Public Prosecutor's Office for both murder and violating gun laws. Abe was shot with a homemade gun while holding a rally near a train station in the western Japanese city of Nara last July. The killing of the former leader sparked condolences from around the world and came as a shock to Japan, where such acts of violence are rare, in part due to its strict gun laws. And on a sad note, Lisa Marie Presley, the only child of rock and roll legend Elvis, has died aged 54, her mother has said. Although her mother gave no details about the possible cause of death, U.S. media say she suffered a cardiac arrest Thursday morning and was found unresponsive at her home in Calabasas, California. Paramedics arrived shortly afterwards, taking Presley to hospital. Tributes started pouring in from across America soon after the star's death was reported. Lisa Marie was last seen in public on Tuesday night at the Golden Globe Awards, which she attended with her mother to support a recent film about her late father. A singer in her own right, Lisa Marie was involved in numerous humanitarian causes, from anti-poverty programs to relief efforts after Hurricane Katrina.
Introducing the PrimeLearn app. You can now top up your child's classwork using PrimeLearn. Get access to elaborate lesson videos, exercises, and revision tests by expert teachers all over the country. From nursery to primary 7, all subjects and learning areas affordably based on the Uganda curriculum. Download the PrimeLearn app from Play Store or visit www.prime-learn.com. Learn ahead of others, anytime, anywhere.